I remember the text as if it burned itself into my memory. Don't wait up. See you later. Simple, casual, innocent enough on its face. But there was that twitch in my chest, the one I couldn't shake, that whispered, something's off. I stared at the glowing screen in the quiet of our living room. Lily's words lingering like smoke. She had promised she'd stay in, just the two of us tonight, our date night, she'd said. But here it was, a sudden change, a departure she hadn't even hinted at. I tried to dismiss it at first. Work stress, maybe a last-minute invitation. But my instincts are rarely wrong. I noticed the subtle things in the weeks leading up to tonight. Missed calls that she didn't see, a phone she kept just slightly out of reach, laughter that ended too quickly whenever I walked in. The little lies that seemed inconsequential at first now piled up like bricks, and my heart ached under their weight. At the party, the room buzzed with chatter, clinking glasses, and the soft strains of a jazz band. I followed Lily inside, trying to ignore the cold pit that had formed in my stomach. She seemed lighter somehow, freer than usual. There was a glint in her eye, a mischievous curve to her lips, and I hated myself for noticing it. She drifted from group to group, laughing, leaning into someone's shoulder, her hand brushing another's in a way that made my chest tighten. I sipped my drink, my own hand trembling slightly, trying to make sense of it all. Maybe I was being paranoid. I trust her, I told myself. But deep down I knew better. That gnawing suspicion I had ignored for weeks was clawing its way into reality. Then she turned to the center of the room, glass raised, and laughed. That easy, confident laugh that used to make my heart melt now cut like glass. She leaned slightly on the arm of a man I didn't know well, smiling at him in a way that was intimate, private, and horrifyingly public all at once. "Just so you know," she announced to everyone, her voice carrying effortlessly, "I've been having most fun lately, and it's not with my husband." I froze. My drink slipped from my fingers, spilling across the polished floor, but I didn't notice. All I could hear was a pounding in my ears, drowning out the murmurs, the shocked gasps, the laughter. My mind went blank and then raced through every memory, every shared moment, every quiet night that now felt like a stage performance. I remember the sudden heat of shame, humiliation, disbelief. I wanted to run, to confront her, to scream. Instead, I felt rooted to the spot, powerless as the room's attention shifted from conversation to catastrophe. Lily's eyes met mine for a fraction of a second, a spark of something I couldn't quite place. Guilt, triumph, or maybe both. After the initial shock, the evidence revealed itself in ways I hadn't imagined. Texts hidden in her phone, flustered explanations when I asked innocent questions, lingering scent on her scarf, subtle laughter with someone else that mimicked our old private jokes. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a rewriting of our shared life into a story where I barely existed. When I confronted her later, in the dim silence of our bedroom, her voice was calm, almost rehearsed. "I didn't mean for you to find out this way," she said. "But I can't lie anymore. I'm happy in a way I couldn't be with you." I wanted to scream, to break things, to demand answers. But there was a strange clarity in the pain, a recognition that the love I had poured into our years together was not returned, or at least not in the same way. Memories that had once felt warm now cut sharp, every kiss and whispered promise tinged with betrayal. I didn't hate her. Not fully. I pitied her, I think, for the selfishness that had brought this to a head, and I mourned the version of our marriage that had once been. But I loved myself enough to step back, to reclaim dignity that had been quietly eroding beneath the surface of her deceit. The final goodbye was silent. No yelling, no pleading. Just two people standing in the soft glow of our bedroom light. One ready to leave, the other left to process the wreckage. I packed a bag, kissed our framed photographs lightly, and walked out the door with my head high, heart heavy, but unbroken. Weeks later, I think about that night often. I remember the laughter, the announcement, the betrayal, and the strange peace that followed. Life didn't stop. It shifted. I rebuilt quietly, focusing on myself, finding solace in small victories, in mornings where the air was mine alone, in the slow healing of a heart that thought it shattered beyond repair. Sometimes, I catch a whiff of her perfume in the street or a glimpse of her smile in a crowd, and a pang hits, but it's brief, manageable. The lesson is etched deep. Trust is fragile, love can blind, and sometimes walking away is the strongest thing a person can do. I carry the memory of her laughter, yes, but I also carry myself. And for the first time in a long time, that is enough.